Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. And today we're going to be taking a look at the TRYX Panorama, and I've got the ARGB model. Now, if you've not seen this already, then it's a new brand, but it's a completely new approach to an AIO, or more the display on the AIO. We've got quite used to recently with screens being on the front of our AIO so that we can put GIFs on or monitor things, but this has got an amazing, actually, it's a 6.5 inch screen, it's 2K resolution, 60 Hertz, and it wraps around the front of the AIO. Now you can pull the front of the AIO off, there's a little fan underneath. Now they say that fan is there to cool the screen. I'm going to say that the screen's probably not going to get that hot, but it is going to give you some downward air towards your VRMs. It's just a little bit confused in that the intake is round the back, so it's going to be fighting for air away from the rear fan that most of us are going to run. If you're one of those people that just has it completely open at the back, I still don't understand why people do that, because there's no dust filters or anything there. But if you have a rear fan, then it's going to be fighting for that. But I ended up just running mine with it set to the lowest setting. Now, it is a beautiful white one. They do a black one as well. As I've said, you've got that massive screen, which is the biggest selling point, if I'm honest. Underneath the hood, it is just an Acetec unit though. Although there are some points about the Acetec unit that are worth saying about. It's the 8th gen pump that's in it. It's a 3-phase motor, 40% thicker tubing, and a micro convex copper base. Now, all of this, in the grand scheme of things, having a lovely screen is going to be no good if it's too expensive or it doesn't perform. Now, if we remember that we have Ryujins from Asus at 400 and above, this comes in at £329, and you can get it from overclockers as well. It's pre-order today, but I've been told that stock is fairly en route. Now, with the screen, there does come in the software some options that you can easily set to and change out of the box. It's all built in there, and you can just go in and click them to change them. There's a cool little car one. There are lots of options. If you want to do it customized though, you have to add a video file to it. Now, I did think that an idea for TRYX would be, for someone like myself, it would be good if you could pick a background and then you could have a logo that you could upload, and then it might move it around a bit like the old kind of screensaver days. Or they could have had GIFs built into it. I think there was a lot more that they could have done with the software to have made it user friendly. Now, there is obviously the argument that, oh, this can come in time, but with a brand new product like this with such a big screen, I felt it was quite limiting. In that, there's no option built in to be able to play YouTube videos. With the one that I've recently just done for NZXT with the Kraken though, all of those things were built in and were quite literally a click option that you could do, or paste in a YouTube video link or a playlist, that sort of stuff. And I do think it's quite missing with this. And where the screen is so big and it is that 6.5 inch rectangular, it does seem to have makes a lot of sense for them to have done more with it. And at the moment, that beautiful screen, I think, is actually being underutilized. The 3D effects that you get from their versions are great. I do think we're going to need more though. Whether this is going to be something that the end users at home are going to have to do is really going to come down to whether they can be bothered or not. The fans themselves go up to 1900 RPM, and they do lick on a bit when they do that. The overall design of the unit and the fans though they are just ARGB fans at the end of the day. There's nothing spectacular about them. There's no special lighting down the side. It is just lit from the middle fans, just as you would expect. But they do perform really well. To the point, even though my unit has a very noisy pump, and I don't mean that in it's noisy because it's poorly designed, I mean it's noisy because mine's probably a little bit faulty. And if it wasn't for the fact that the performance was so good, I probably wouldn't have published a review. Now, I was expecting the performance to be subpar, and he's saying, well, it'd probably be better if the pump wasn't so noisy, but it is on point. And as you can see, it's so on point that it tops and bests a lot of the graphs. So if the performance can only get better without the noise, it does make you wonder how much better it could have been. But it doesn't really matter at this point because it is one of the best coolers I have ever tested. And it's because of that, with the amazing screen, which I do think their software needs more work to get the best from it. But the VRM fan isn't noisy when you leave it down on low, and which is the way I set it. The fans obviously do a good job, but they're just reasonable fans. They're not the sort of fans that I can see people wanting to rush out to buy to fill into the rest of their system, sadly. And I kind of think that if it was me, I'd probably end up changing these to white fans that was going to run in the rest of the rig. But the £329 price tag, it obviously isn't the cheap end of the AIO market, but it is at the extreme end of the AIO market with such a big screen like that and the VRM cooling, and it is, let's face facts, 25% cheaper than the ROG Ryujin 3 Extreme, because they're well over £400. So I actually think once you kind of think about that in the grand scheme of things, they're both made by Asetek. This has got a bigger screen. They've both got fans. They both have the removable top. Technically, this is, on paper, better than the Asus. And on paper, it performs better than the Asus, but with a 25% lower price tag. So at that point, the only thing that you're not getting from buying the TRYX is the ROG badge on the side of it. And I don't really think you're missing out at that point either. The one thing I will say, to come away from this, to show you how much I actually like this unit, is it disappointed me it was noisy, because I wanted to pop this in my MSI Candy rig that's on my desk. So I wanted this in my main system. So the day that it turned up and I started using it and it was noisy, there was already a fair bit of disappointment. And yet, because of how well it's performed and how nice that screen is, it still managed to win me over. So I am hoping that the replacement won't be too long, because I do genuinely want to use it. But Enthusiast Award, and would I have one? I can't wait to start using one.